For what feels like forever, the WNBA has been constantly criticized and mocked.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like the WNBA just because it's not good.
Basketball fans have poked fun at the empty championship parades and laughed at the small MVP trophies that looked like they came from a dollar store. Some even fell asleep while sitting courtside at games. Online, jokes circulate like, "I'm so mad. I had 2 WNBA tickets in my car, and today someone broke in, and now I have 4 WNBA tickets." You get the idea? The WNBA's image and reputation have been less than impressive.
The WNBA officials expanded to 10 teams this week, adding franchises in Detroit and Washington, D.C. But before you get too excited about the new additions to the league, remember, all of the players are still women.
Honestly, as a diehard NBA fan, the only WNBA trade that ever grabbed my attention was when Brittany Griner was exchanged for the Merchant of Death. It might sound harsh, but I'm just trying to highlight the fact that the WNBA has been so under the radar that even big basketball fans like me hardly hear about it. Lately, though, that seems to be shifting. Lately, it seems like everywhere I turn in the basketball world, it's all about Caitlin Clark. Even during the 2024 NBA Finals, her name kept popping up. As a basketball fan, you just can't avoid hearing about her. After watching her games, reading articles, and listening to her interviews, it's clear why the hype is real. Her shooting is unbelievable, and the rest of her game is just as impressive. People are calling her the female Steph Curry, while others compare her to the legendary Pistol Pete Maravich. Before she even set foot in the WNBA, she was already being mentioned alongside some of the greatest names in the sport. Right now, she's completely changing the landscape of women's basketball, and many believe she's the most groundbreaking women's player of all time. In a league that's been struggling financially since its start, she's probably the only player who can truly draw fans and fill stadiums, boosting revenue along the way.
You just really 17,000 people at the game yesterday, bro.
And listen,
at 10:30 in the morning. God damn.
Matinee.
Her story right now reminds me a lot of Ronda Rousey, the former UFC champion who put women's MMA on the map when no one was paying attention. From that perspective, the WNBA should be incredibly thankful because they finally have a chance to step out of the shadows and into the spotlight. Yet, instead of embracing her, they're attacking, bullying, and doing everything they can to corner and shut her down. Why is that? Why is the WNBA openly going after their star player, the one person who has a real shot at transforming their sport?
Up in time, Clark for the win! Yeah!
This is why Caitlin Clark will go down as one of the best to ever play the game.
To understand why some WNBA players are turning against Caitlin Clark, we first need to take a closer look at the league's culture. About 7 years ago, a former WNBA champion and top draft pick revealed that she was bullied within the league due to her sexual orientation and popularity. In her own words, she said, "I wanted to play 2 more seasons of WNBA, but the experience wasn't good for my mental health. I didn't like the culture in the WNBA, and without saying too much, it was toxic for me. It broke my spirit." Following her statement, many WNBA players denied the claims, saying her experience was personal and didn't represent the league as a whole. While their point might be fair, her story becomes more believable when you start adding up other examples. Take Luka Doncic, for instance. When he first joined the NBA, he tried to show support for the WNBA by creating what seemed like a harmless video.
What's up, Ricky? I know you're having a great season, so just keep pushing. I know you're going to be the rookie of the year, so best of luck to you.
The video Luka Doncic created was completely harmless and, if anything, leaned towards being positive. The WNBA could have either thanked him or just stayed silent if they didn't agree with it. Instead, the Minnesota Lynx responded harshly with a tweet saying, "Says a guy who hasn't been to a WNBA game all season but got sent a jersey and recorded a scripted video." The tweet is still up if you want to find it. It was never deleted. This reflects a broader mindset within the WNBA. Another recurring issue is that the league has often complained about pay, arguing they deserve higher salaries simply because NBA players earn so much.
Under 5 minutes to go in the first, it's Caitlin Clark. The ball's knocked loose, doesn't matter. 29 feet away, pulling up from Alexandria. Boom. No problem.
Caitlin Clark just delivered the explosive performance we've all been waiting for. She nailed 7 three-pointers and scored over 30 points in front of a packed crowd of more than 20,000 fans, turning a dream scenario into reality for us supporters. In this remarkable game, Clark became just the second rookie in WNBA history to hit 7 three-pointers and reach a career-high 30 points. She matched Crystal Robinson's rookie three-point record from 1999 and surpassed Tamika Catching's record of 6 from 2002, setting a new franchise record for the most three-pointers by a rookie in a single game. Her standout performance not only led the Indiana Fever to an 85-83 victory over the Washington Mystics in the Commissioner's Cup, but also won over fans who had seen her struggle in earlier games. Moreover, she silenced critics who doubted her ability to adjust to the WNBA standards. The game, which was moved to Capital One Arena to accommodate the high demand to see the top draft pick, saw Clark shine in front of a record-breaking crowd of 20,333. This was the largest attendance for a WNBA game since the 2007 finals and the second best performance since 1999. Clark also added 8 rebounds, 6 assists, and a career-high 4 steals to her impressive stats.
At this time 1 week ago, we were gearing up for Caitlin Clark to go against Angel Reese for the first time in their WNBA careers. And by the time the Fever Sky game was over, the conversation had changed to Kennedy Carter's foul on Clark, a foul the WNBA would later upgrade to a flagrant foul 1 the very next day, and it was a foul that launched 1,000 takes.
Caitlin Clark has made history as just the second rookie to score over 30 points, grab more than 5 rebounds, dish out over 5 assists, and hit more than 5 three-pointers in a single game. She also became the fastest WNBA player to reach 200 points and 75 assists, achieving this in just 12 games and surpassing Sue Bird's record of 14 games. "It felt great to shoot well. Even my misses felt close," Clark said after the game. "It was nice to have a night like this. Overall, we shot the ball really well. 16 made threes. I still see so many areas where I can improve, and I think that goes for our entire team." Clark is determined to maintain her high level of play, knowing she hasn't reached her peak yet. Her standout performance also led the Fever to deliver the Mystics their 11th consecutive loss, marking the worst start in the franchise's history. Kelsey Mitchell, Clark's backcourt partner, added 16 points, 4 assists, and 3 steals. Both Aaliyah Boston and Nalissa Smith contributed 10 points each. The team secured their second Commissioner's Cup win, moving to a 2-1 record in the competition. However, despite her impressive performance, Clark is still dealing with some rookie challenges, including leading the league in turnovers. She had 8 more turnovers in this game, bringing her season total to 67. Interestingly, she matched her career high of 30 points from May 28th against the Los Angeles Sparks. Along with her 6 assists, 8 rebounds, and 4 steals, she made 7 of 13 three-point attempts, tying a WNBA rookie record, and hit 5 consecutive shots from beyond the arc in the second half.
Yeah, I think it's a process more than anything. It felt good to shoot the ball well. Like, I feel like even my misses were like right there. I thought multiple were still going in, and it was nice to have a night like that.
Clark's confidence in her game is evident from recent performances. Earlier, she discussed the learning curve she faced in her first 11 professional games. After scoring just 3 points in a season-low performance against the New York Liberty on Sunday, Clark rebounded with what many consider the best game of her young WNBA career, thanks to a 4-day break. During this time off, Clark mentioned that the Fever took the opportunity to refine their set plays and practice against ball screen blitzes that had been challenging them. Against the Mystics, Clark found space to create off those screens, explaining, "As a shooter, once you see 1 or 2 shots go in, the basket just seems bigger and bigger. Indiana head coach Christy Sides noted that the strategy to get Clark more action off screens was deliberate, aiming to reduce her workload. She started feeling it late, which is always a good sign, Sides said. Defensively, Clark made an impact with a steal under the Washington basket to ignite a transition bucket in the first half and added another steal shortly after. By halftime, she had 4 assists and 3 steals, energizing the fans. Playing against the struggling Washington Mystics, who have 11 losses this season, also gave Clark a chance to look more at ease on the court. She mentioned before the game that she felt her passing was up to her standard, even as she and her Fever teammates continue to build their chemistry. Clark is also satisfied with her rebounding stats, considering her size. The 2-time NCAA Player of the Year came into Friday's game averaging 15.6 points, 6.4 assists, 5.1 rebounds, 1.3 steals, and a league-high 5.4 turnovers per game. Clark believes that as the game slows down for her, those turnovers will decrease. To reduce turnovers, Clark showcased her ball handling skills with a smooth one-handed drive and a scoop shot for 2 points in the first quarter. On the next Fever possession, she demonstrated her court vision with a give and go with second-year forward and 2023 top draft pick, Aaliyah Boston. Despite this, some flaws in Clark's game from the first 6 weeks of her professional career were evident on Friday. In the first quarter, she was stripped by fellow rookie Julie Van Loo, who then hit a transition three-pointer before Clark could recover. Clark responded with a step-back three-pointer near the Mystics logo. With the Fever starting 3s in 9, Clark is gaining a clearer understanding of how much experience counts in the WNBA. She offered some realistic insights into her situation, noting, if you're the #1 pick, you're probably going to a team that didn't have the best year before. It can be tough at times. One of the positives from the first 11 games has been the team's energy, which Clark says has remained consistent since their first game. Recently, Clark has been more in the media spotlight, particularly after taking hard fouls from the Chicago Sky's Chennedy Carter, which the league later upgraded to a flagrant foul. Clark addressed the controversy before Friday's game and stated she wasn't seeking an apology from Carter. While Carter faced criticism from fans upon the Sky's arrival in DC, Clark's performance highlighted her resilience and ability to rise above the situation.
And she's having a tremendous season. She's played great basketball in my eyes, probably in first place for 6th Player of the Year. And, it's just basketball at the end of the day. There's no grudges. There's nothing like that. It's a sport. It's competitive. It's not going to be nice all the time. That's not what basketball is. And I think people that play that at the highest level understand that.
Clark acknowledged that she was fully aware of the physical challenges she would face in the WNBA. Maybe some people didn't understand the circumstances, she said. Clark continued, "You're starting a new chapter and a new phase of your career as a professional athlete. It's not going to click overnight. That's just not how it works." Clark has been emphasizing this since the beginning of her WNBA career, but both she and her fans are well aware of her exceptional talent.
Today, anytime the head is hit, they usually call it, and she gets her really hard there. Any contact above the shoulders.
Angel Reese hit Caitlin Clark right on the head and ended up getting benched for it. To be honest, this situation isn't as glamorous or joyful for Clark as it might seem. The physical demands and the pressure of expectations, both on and off the court, have been tough. Adding to that, the stress from social media and various conspiracies has made things even harder. Clark talked about how challenging it all has been.
Younger than that at times, and I'm trying to navigate moving to a new city by myself. I'm trying to navigate, playing in a new league on top of everything else that has come with it. And
in the midst of all the chaos, Caitlin Clark is trying to stay calm. It's definitely not easy or delightful. The world keeps pulling her into the whirlwind. Over just a few years in the spotlight, Clark's story has evolved from a fun narrative about a record-breaking college basketball scorer who brought new attention to women's basketball, to discussions about race, sexuality, fame, money, and opportunity. Then, it shifted back to concerns about her turnover numbers early in her first WNBA season. Clark highlighted the importance of focusing on mental health and emphasized that seeking help is crucial. "I can achieve everything in my life," she said. "I'm not afraid to ask for help and to tell people, you know, today is just not my day, and that's okay. Not every day has to be perfect."
I think it's something that a lot of people in our country struggle with, especially young individuals. And, I think the biggest thing is don't be afraid to ask for help.
The concern isn't just about Clark herself. Tennis star Serena Williams recently praised Caitlin Clark for handling early success well despite social media negativity. Speaking to the New York Post at the Tribeca Festival about her docuseries In the Arena, Serena was asked about Caitlin. Serena responded, "I just love that she tries to stay grounded." She mentioned that Caitlin avoids looking at her social media. Sharing some advice with Caitlin, Serena said,
"If people are negative, it's because they can't do what you do, basically, and hopefully she'll continue to do what she's doing."
Relating to Clark's tough early career days, Serena Williams shared her own experiences with similar negativity as a young tennis star. "I was bullied," Serena said. "Things I went through would get people canceled now." Earlier this year, Serena expressed interest in owning a WNBA team while talking to CNN. "I would definitely be super interested with the right market," she reiterated. "We just need the right catalyst and people. And I think that's happening over the past 2 years. Women's sports are finally having their moment." Big stars like Serena recognize Caitlin Clark's unprecedented rise to fame. She's one of the most popular athletes on the planet, and she hasn't even played her first WNBA game. In her first 14 games, Clark is on track to win Rookie of the Year, averaging 15.6 points on 36.7% shooting, 32.2% from three, 4.9 rebounds, and 6 assists. However, she's also facing intense physicality and committing a league-high 5.5 turnovers per game. Amid all the attention, fans are concerned about her mental health and well-being. Being famous has its perks, but at just 22 years old, there's worry about whether Clark can handle the long-term pressure. In ESPN's Full Court Press series, Clark admitted she sometimes wishes she were normal because all the attention and press can be draining. "There are days when you don't want to talk to everyone," Clark said, "but someone comes up to you, and this is their 10-second interaction with you, so you better smile and be kind. But sometimes, you just want to be normal." Despite the pressure, Caitlin Clark seems to be handling it well so far. But with her fame expected to rise, fans are concerned about her mental health. Life as a celebrity has its downsides, but the pros often make it worth it. At 22, Clark's exciting journey in the world of basketball and celebrity continues. The latest chapter took place on Sunday in front of a sold-out crowd at Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. There, she faced Angel Reese, a Chicago Sky rookie familiar with high-profile showdowns against Clark. They had a heated battle in the 2023 NCAA National Championship game, where Reese's LSU Tigers defeated Clark's Iowa Hawkeyes, famously mocking Clark's "you can't see me" hand motion. Clark and Iowa got their revenge when they knocked out Reese and LSU in this year's Elite Eight in April. Attendance and merchandise sales spiked, and everyone assumed the latest Clark-Reese game would set viewership records. "I think it's the emotion and passion we play with," Clark said. "That's something that wasn't always appreciated about women's sports. And it should be. It makes it fun. We're competitors. And that's how the game should be. It's going to get feisty and physical, but both teams are just trying to win." In their second professional meeting, the Fever earned a 91-83 win, with Clark delivering her best all-around performance of her 15-game career. She scored 23 points on 11 shots, adding 9 rebounds, 8 assists, and 2 blocked shots. In a dramatic turn, Reese hit Clark across the head, sending her to the floor as she attempted to block Clark's layup in the third quarter, earning Reese a flagrant foul. Clark's reaction was unexpectedly composed. "What's going through my mind is, I need to make these 2 free throws," she said. "That's all I'm thinking about. It's just part of basketball." Maybe Caitlin Clark not playing for Team USA at the Olympics turned out to be a blessing in disguise. In her first WNBA game back after the break, she put on one of the best performances of her career. She definitely heard all the talk, not just from Diana, who said, "Reality is coming," but also from the Mercury's social media, where they claimed they'd prefer their 6-time gold medalist.
Reality is coming. You look superhuman playing against 18-year-olds, but you're going to come with some grown women that have been playing professional basketball for a long time.
I'm taking Paige. Next question.
So if you had the number 1 pick this year, you would take Paige over Caitlin?
Absolutely.
I'd be curious to know if they still agree after this game, because reality has definitely set in. Caitlin Clark might just be the best point guard in the WNBA. Diana Taurasi learned that the hard way, and you'll see why in this video. Right from the first play, Aaliyah Boston shows she's in mid-season form, chasing down a missed 3 from Mitchell and putting up the first points for Indiana. On this next play, all 3 of the Fever's All-Stars get involved. Clark makes an entry pass to Boston in the post, who quickly scans over her left shoulder and delivers a perfect bounce pass to Mitchell, cutting across the baseline, who finishes with a smooth reverse layup. You can really see the chemistry between Clark and Boston here. Clark hesitates just long enough to give Boston time to get into position, then threads a bounce pass around Griner's outstretched arms, and Boston lays it in off the glass. It's a strong start for the Fever, forcing the Mercury into an early timeout. Phoenix finally gets something going, and when all else fails, they turn to Brittney Griner. She rises above the defense and sinks a fadeaway jumper over 2 defenders. Speaking of shooting over defenders, watch as Caitlin comes off a screen from Nalissa and lets one fly from NBA range, knocking down her first 3 of the game. When Caitlin starts hitting from deep early on, it's never a good sign for the other team. Kalia Copper is showing why she was such a key player for Team USA in the Olympic final, picking up right where she left off in Paris. She nails a jumper from the elbow off the dribble. While she's a solid defender, she couldn't stop Caitlin Clark, who danced around her on the perimeter, spun inside, and finished at the rim while drawing the foul for an and one. Of course, Caitlin sank the free throw to complete the 3-point play. Caitlin was in control early on. Check out how she probes the defense and splits it with a perfect bounce pass to Smith under the basket for an easy layup. Diana Taurasi, the 6-time Olympic gold medalist, finally made her mark, spinning past Boston for a smooth layup off the glass. But Phoenix couldn't keep up with Indiana's youth and speed. Clark zoomed down the court, blew past Griner, took a slap to the face, and still managed to finish for another old-fashioned 3-point play. That gave her 10 points, and it wasn't even halfway through the first quarter. Watch Caitlin's awareness here. She knows the defensive attention she draws. Sophie Cunningham is face-guarding her at half court, but Caitlin drops back and creates a 4-on-3 advantage for her team. After a screen from Boston, Lou Samuelson takes advantage and catches Taurasi off guard, cutting to the basket and scoring another easy 2 for the Fever. It's the little things that don't show up in the box score that really show how advanced Caitlin Clark is for her age. Even with her taking a seat on the bench, the Fever kept up their fast-paced style. Watch as Mitchell goes coast to coast, pulls up for a mid-range jumper, and then knocks down her first 3-pointer of the game. And there she is again, top of the key, matched up with Copper. Mitchell puts the ball on the floor, steps back, launches, and scores. That's 10 first-quarter points for Kelsey Mitchell, and the Fever are pulling away early. The quarter ends with, who else? Caitlin Clark. She's out for revenge, catching and shooting a deep 3, helping the Fever take a 19-point lead. Clark finishes the first quarter with 13 points, hitting a mid-range shot at the buzzer, though her team still trails by 17 points. Caitlin's on fire, starting the second quarter just like she ended the first, with another 3 from the same spot. That's 3 triples already, bringing her up to 16 points. Absolutely unreal performance from the soon-to-be Rookie of the Year. With all her scoring, it's easy to forget she's also the WNBA's assist leader. Check out this bullet pass to Nalissa Smith in transition, who finishes through contact for an and one. The Fever now lead 41-18. This is turning into a blowout in Indianapolis, and it just gets worse for Phoenix. Clark doesn't let up, firing another pinpoint pass to Kelsey Mitchell for an easy layup. She could probably find a needle in a haystack with passes like this. It might be one of her best assists of the year, but honestly, she has so many of them, it's hard to keep count. Even Erica Wheeler is hitting threes in this game. The Fever's lead is now up to 28 points, and we're not even halfway through the second quarter. Finally, the Mercury gets something going, with 42-year-old Diana Taurasi coming off a screen to knock down a big three, cutting the lead to 25. Everyone's feasting in Indiana this game. Nalissa Smith, off a pass from Clark, muscles her way inside and makes a tough shot over Sophie Cunningham. That basket makes her the third Fever player to hit double digits. Actually, make that 4, as Erica Wheeler turns the corner and dishes it off to Boston at just the right moment, bringing her total to 10 points before halftime. Indiana is dominating Phoenix inside, with a 26, 2 points in the paint advantage. Credit the Fever's defense, but there's really no excuse for Phoenix, especially with the tallest player on the court. Quietly though, Phoenix starts to build some momentum. Natasha Cloud hits back-to-back threes, and then Diana Taurasi, this time from the corner, drains another, giving the Mercury 9 quick points. This little 11-2 run becomes important later. You'll see why if you stick around to watch the full game. At the half, the Fever lead 54-37. That first half might be the best basketball Indiana has played all season. Everything we talked about, playing too slow, not playing to Caitlin's strengths, was the complete opposite today. Caitlin was able to play at her Iowa-style fast pace, outrunning the older Phoenix team and taking advantage of the Fever's youth. Clark was phenomenal, putting up 16 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists in the first half alone. Boston, Mitchell, and Smith all chipped in with over 10 points each. But it all started with Caitlin. She's the catalyst, getting everyone involved. And when her three-point shot is on, there's really no one in the WNBA who can stop her.